Good evening, everybody. It's Deanna with toolsofenergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert, and your Akashic Records advisor. Today is 12/1 of 2020. Welcome, everybody. It's so great to see you this evening. This has been kind of a bizarre day, if you will. So many things shifting, so many energies up and down, and feeling like you're floating. And so I had a couple of people that I spoke with today. One is a beautiful woman who graduated the Spiritual Awakening Academy, and then I spoke to one who's actually going through the academy. And we were talking about what's happening right now, what we're seeing in our everyday worlds, what we're seeing across the board, and how this is really affecting us as human beings. So, one of the points that she made was she said, you talk to spiritually awakened people, spiritually gifted people, and you talk about ascension. And she's like, what about everybody else? Where are they in the inclusion? And she's right, because, God, Spirit, or Source put each one of us here at this time, either because we requested it or because we had a mission to complete. And I have a mission. I've been having it for a while. But others came because this time is so unique. There were so many souls wanting to get in here, to be here at this fantastic time. It's a time to be celebrated, to be like, woohoo, and welcome it in, because this is a time where we are opening up. We as human beings live in the third dimension. Our connection to God, Spirit, or Source, if you will, is right about here. It's in the fourth dimension. And then above that is where divine love starts. That's the fifth dimension. And that fifth dimension has been opening up energetically so that everybody has access to it. And the ambiguous they that don't want us as humans, as spiritual beings in a human existence, to want us to know how powerful we are, they're feeding stuff that's not true into things that we perceive are true. If you're here on Facebook, if you look at 2 days ago's video, I talk more about this. If you're on YouTube, just scroll back a couple. But what I'm saying is that the powers that be, the ambiguous they, because I don't know who all they are, have taken things that are true and covered them with just enough poo that we don't recognize them. But what we recognize is the poo. And I'm not talking about Winnie. You got to have a little laughter in each and every show. But what I'm talking about is that this is a time of spiritual rebirth, a great awakening for many people. It's huge. And so the fifth dimensional frequencies are pouring in and lifting everybody up. All boats lift with a rising tide, all of them. And this new age, if you will, that we're coming into is called the Age of Aquarius. And if you're old school like me, there was a song that said, this is when the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, and peace will be in the valley, and I think the moon will outshine the stars or something, but it's the dawn. It's a song about the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. That's where we are now. So I'm going to implore you to take a deep breath in and exhale. You are living in dynamic, changing time in history. You are here. You have a front row seat. And that is to be celebrated. Do you know how many people wanted to be here in this time and space? And it was like, nope, it's all full. I know that's a little out there for some of you. But this is a time of huge transformation, upheaval, and change. And 20 years ago, when I got my calling to do this work, my mentor at that time said, we are living in times of sweeping change. That was 20 years ago. And I'm like, oh, yep, oh, I didn't realize what he was talking about. But I do now. So you're going to see huge amounts of instability on this entire earth. Why do you think we had a pandemic that went around the world? If it was just in Zimbabwe or just in the United States or just in Great Britain or just in, Canada, then the rest of us would have been going, oh, look what's happening. But it's the whole world. Because God, Spirit, or Source needed to get the whole world's attention. And it's a time of change. And it's a time of cloak and dagger. There are so many things right now that the ambiguous days are putting mud all over, or they're taking a prototype and putting on top of it to make it look real, and it isn't. Because they want control, and that control is the F word, ladies and gentlemen. Because the more that we are in the F word, the easier we are swayed, the easier we are ruled. And the human psyche will do anything to get out of pain. Anything. And if you go back and look at my videos in March when all this first started, I told you it was going to be a mind screw, and it's a mind screw for more than one reason. There's so much going on. And so I actually talked to 3 lovely ladies today, but the 2 that one's taken my class and one's going to be completing it this weekend, or a couple weeks. The one who had been through it, she said, I'm so glad that I took your academy because I can clear energies so that it's easier for me to maintain and be steady in these times. And the other gal is like, I still have a lot of fear. She's, afraid to go forward and what I'm about to teach her, because there's so much crap going on that people don't know who to believe. Can I get a thumbs up if you've been in this space where you don't know who in the hell to believe, whether it's, spiritual people like me, or whether it's, politicians or the news media or whoever it is? Can I get a thumbs up? How many of you out there just feel like you don't know who in the hell to believe anymore? Or you're so confused that you don't know which way is up. You know what I saw on Black Friday and Cyber Monday? And if I'm getting thumbs up right now, I can't see them because the platform I'm on is actually on my laptop instead of my cell phone, where I can see them all going on. So just keep sending them because I'll watch the replay and I'll see them. But what I'm saying to you is that the time we are living in should be celebrated. Get out the confetti. Have a party because you're here. This is beautiful. Again, to be celebrated and not to be in fear. But there is so much in the 3D world to be afraid of, if you will. Okay? I'm not telling you to be afraid of these things I'm about to mention, this little red tape tape across the bottom, the announcement. What I'm telling you is there's so many opportunities for us to lock into fear because there's so many being presented. Okay, and I picked on these people yesterday, and I'm going to pick on them again today because it's safe for me to do so. When the 5th dimensional frequency started opening up to us, and that love frequency was first coming in, there was a lot of downloads. People received a lot of downloads, spiritual people, with information they were going to need for this time. And when you monkey with the human mind, when you put enough electricity around it, it makes it see things that really aren't there, and it can see things that it normally couldn't see, but now it can. So the human mind is amazing, and you can really do a lot of things to it. There's also a way that advertisers will work to pull you into a product, and you go and buy it and you don't even want it and you don't realize why, and it's because the way that they dealt with your psyche. But what I'm saying is there is something called the fifth dimension, fifth dimension, okay? Go look dimensional frequencies up. That's the love frequency. That's where the nurturing and the care and the support and the uplift comes from. Sorry. And then there is something that came out called 5G, which is supposed to be a lot more electrical waves going through the air to give you better internet, from my understanding. And they're making it up to be this big, huge thing about the same time as the frequencies were shifting to let in the fifth dimension. So there's so much goodness going on. So much love, opportunity, awareness. But the ambiguous, they can't have that because then there would be no fear. And without fear, they can't rule efficiently, apparently, according to them. So right now, my understanding of history, because I watch limited television, I only read headlines and have a couple of advisors who tell me what's, happening in the world, so I don't have to, be in it. And one of those things is this presidential election. Okay. So you've got the one that had been in office, and then you have this other one who ran. And if you notice, there was a big lag of time in counting the votes. Go back and look in your American history and see how long that's taken in the past and compare it to now. So there was just something not quite right about that. Is it real? I don't know. Is it orchestrated? I don't know. But what I do know is that if you keep one president who's leaving, one president who's coming, and you keep them in limbo long enough, the American people do this. And they pull their money in because they're so afraid they don't know what's going to happen next. Are we going to go into a massive depression and they're going to need their money? Or are we going to go into a time of splendor and they need to invest their money? But I've been in this business for 20 years, and every time an election came along, this is the same scenario. People don't freely spend their money. They still spend, but not freely, until after the president is announced and or seated. And then they're like, oh, okay, now we know who's going to be, running the country. So that's what I can see. And in that, generally speaking, in years past, for me, that meant from the time that the election was done to the time they announced who it was, that time, a lot of people either ran to me to find out what was going to happen in the future and if they were going to be okay. Or I got quite the opposite. Nobody came to see me. And I was all like, just keeping it real. But seriously. So, I've been long enough that I made, some arrangements so that if this time, was dry for a couple weeks, financially, I'd be okay. And so did a lot of other folks in the different industries, that aren't usually busy during the winter. And the longer this thing drags out, then they don't announce who's coming into office and make it final. The longer a lot of us are in financial limbo, okay? Financial limbo, right? And for those people that are, down here financially to begin with anyway, And just hanging on, that's going to take them down here where you can't see them anymore. That's going to drive panic. Not a good thing. The other thing that I see going on right now is what I call emotional eating. Wouldn't know anything about that. You remember correctly, I went on a diet right before all this hit, and I thought I'd be doing good, and nope. But there's a lot of emotional eating going on. And some people think it's because they're bored and they're at home and they need to do something to do. You could eat celery. Come on, give me a break. It's more about filling that hole down inside, way deep down inside. I also see people spending money for Christmas, which is good, you know, keeping things as normal as they can. But I'm seeing a little bit more of emotional buying, trying to feel better than I have in years past. That's just what I'm seeing. That is on this side. I don't mean to go left or right, but it, you know, for argument's sake, that's on this side of the age of Aquarius, being born. And so you're like, what's on the other side, Deanna? What can I expect? Because all of us would like to exhale, because pretty much everybody I've talked to doesn't know what's going on. Some of them still continue to go to work and do their jobs and do their functions, but there's a lot of people on this planet going and waiting for that announcement before they exhale. There are more conspiracy theories out there than you can shake a hat at right now. And, you know, I love each and every one of you, but nobody really knows because it hasn't been decided yet. The collective consciousness, every single person on this planet, everybody, if they draw a breath, they have consciousness. And that consciousness emits an energy, and that energy rises up. And if you've ever seen a lava lamp, it looks like a lava lamp, okay? And so that energy collects in the atmosphere of this planet. Like, let's see if I can get this right. There. Collects up here. And we all feed into it. So the more fear-mongering that goes on, we're going to tilt one way. And the more that people that keep the positive energy and know good things are coming, the more we're going to go the other way. That's why I don't know. Because I asked my guides, I'm like, are we going to be doing better in 2021? You know, are things going to ride out a little bit better? I got 5 years. This next energetic cycle, the pervasive theme will last 5 years. Pervasive. Remember, we talked about it being like an old watch, or the clock towers where you get one cog that click, 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 and then it stops and goes over here and moves another one, click, click, click. With a pervasive energy, after we get through the birthing of the Age of Aquarius, is where we're going to be for about the next 5 years. How do you know whether it's going to be positive or negative? That is determined by you, all of you out there, and me as a collective consciousness, plain and simple. Today, I did a little research and I watched a bunch of people that I follow and some new people that, you know, are popular, but I don't follow them, to see what they were saying about the Age of Aquarius. And they were like, yay, confetti, it's coming, it's going to get better, woo! Okay. The other people that I watched, again, people that are popular, usually have anywhere from 50,000 to 1 million followers. You know, those people I want to, because people love them for whatever reason, so I want to watch, see what they're doing. And there were some doomsdayers over here, do. And I'm like, what the heck? Why so divided? Even the astrologer that I follow said that the election was very divided and he couldn't pick which one was going to come out the victor. This is in the US. So here's what I do know. desired outcome is to not leave you confused. And I tell you what I understand to be truth, but I'm going to tell each and every one of you, seek the truth for yourself. Okay? Let me write myself a note and I'll come back to that in a minute. Truth for self. Because I just heard one of you out there say, how do I know what the truth is for myself? Thumbs up. If you're watching, give me a thumbs up out there and let me know. All right. So, here's what I know to be true. Spiritual rebirth and a time of great awakening, greater than we've had so far, will be here. The expected due date is December 21, 2020. That's the due date. That is when we are going to experience Jupiter and Saturn, the two largest planets in the solar system, coming into alignment with what's called the sign of Aquarius, those stars. That's what I do know. I also know that there's going to be a total solar eclipse. We won't be able to see it from stateside on December 14th, 2020. That solar eclipse will pinch, if you will, the energies. It's like having a really bright flashlight on in the dark and it goes off for several seconds and then comes back on again. You know, you're like, what happened? But the this year we've had 4 lunar eclipses and 1 other solar. So I find it interesting, all the 2s that are showing up. Pay attention, people. 2 has its own frequency. And yes, I know that the calendar we're under is different than the original calendar. But still, think about that. 12, 14, 2020. Lots of 2s. That's the total solar eclipse. And the last one for 2020. December 21st, 2020, the 2 largest planets in the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn, will align in the sign of Aquarius. Okay, we know this from the astrology, but I find this to be rather fascinating because the Greeks, ancient Greeks, knew a lot more than what we understand. I mean, there's so much that they brought, such a rich culture of awareness and understanding that has been covered up or not paid attention to. So if I can get this right, the Jupiter this is benefic, I believe is the name. But that's Jupiter. And when I looked it up, because I wanted to see what the original meaning was, it was Greek for the good doer. The good doer, okay? Then I looked up the other one, and the Saturn, if I'm not mistaken, is the malefic in the Greek, malefic. And that comes from a Greek word, which is 𝐂𝐨𝐴, I believe, meaning bad doer. Had to write that out. Not a word you say every day. 𝐂𝐨𝐴, I believe. So you have the planets in the solar system that each resonate and have a frequency. And when they get in certain alignments and they're with each other, they're passing that frequency back and forth, and it affects us. So it's like puppets on a string, but the strings are all connected. So you have got the two largest planets in the solar system, ours, one being called the good doer and one being called the bad doer. They're the two biggest ones on the block. What do you think's going to happen? This is the first time, my understanding, in 400 years that this alignment has come again. Notice the twos. So this is going to shift the energies in relationships, and it's going to shift the energies in society and authority. The way that we interact with authority. And right now, there's a lot of stuff that's not happy. And you think of all the movements and the different lives that matter, lives that apparently don't matter. Some people it's okay to kill, some people it's not okay to kill. This is what I'm seeing, right? This is not my juju. This is just what I'm seeing. And so with all, you think of everything that's gone on in 2020, all of the floods and the hurricanes and the pandemic and the politics and the social unrest. It's been building, 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 building. So which way are we going, ladies and gentlemen? Which way is the collective consciousness going to shift? Because pretty much there's a 50-50 split up there. All right, let me look and see. I've got some questions. I've got no questions, but I do want to say hi to Kelly, hi to Chelsea, hi to Tracy, hi to Beth, and hi to Keith. Thank you all for joining me. So, how are we to survive this? Or how are we to thrive with this? Because you've got survival and thrive. Two biggest creators of get it done. So I talked about truth. So I wanted to know, or the desired outcome was to know from my guides what I needed to discuss tonight besides what we've already covered. And the two lovely ladies that are, one a graduated student and one getting ready to graduate, we talked about things. They don't know each other, but their fears, their concerns, what they see, their perspectives, very different in what their concerns are right at the moment, but very much the same within here. And a few other people I spoke to today and people that I watched, Mary told you I was kind of looking at other people in my business. There were so many articles, podcasts saying that, you know, go within, go within, go within, go within to get through this time. And even I told you in the last couple of videos, narrow is the way. It's what Jesus said, narrow is the way. So that means no looking at all this flashy panty stuff that they've got going on and you know, what's being presented to us in the news. And, you know, it's just all stuff to keep us from focusing. But no matter what happens, if you're steady in here and you're steady in here, you're going to be okay. I have that on a really good authority. But how do you go within? You know, I know I can't see it from right here, but can I get some thumbs up? How many people out there, please keep the thumbs up going and the hearts going as I'm talking about this, because based on the response that I get that I'll look at later is how I'm going to shape up the rest of December and what I'm offering. So when everybody says, oh, go within, you know, focus within and change within, how many of you out there don't like what's in here because you've been in abusive relationships, you've experienced narcissism, you've experienced a sociopath, alcoholic parents, workaholic parents, and you were told you were less than nothing, or you weren't good enough, or perhaps you struggle with not being good enough. And you're all panicky right now. How many of those are out there? You know, like I said, I can't see any hearts. I can see comments though. Woo. But how many are struggling to go within because what's within is titchy? Don't deserve, you know, to be loved. Self-punishment, self-limitation, depression, disparagement, feeling like, you know, some of my clients that are in their 30s, I ask them how they were feeling about all this, and they're like, I just want it over. I don't care who wins, just get it done. The presidency election stuff. So there's a lot of different feelings in the collective consciousness, that there's so much noise out here. That's why the guides, the teachers and people like myself are telling you to go within, because you've got to strengthen the foundation in your heart, your mind, and your connection to God's spirit or source. You've got to go 1, 2, 3, because that's your guide. That's your light in the darkness. But you've also got to stay connected with your feet on the earth. And I have had discussions with my guidance, because, you know, they wanted me to start working on myself and doing various things over the last few years. And I did, you know, that and felt better and great. And then I come out to this, being more grounded. Really? But I realized that I have to be more centered and grounded and less airy-fairy, if you will, so that I can navigate these times, because they are not easy. And I've talked here before about pivoting. You know, if you don't have a job or this or that, you might have to pivot how you've done business. I saw an article today said, don't pivot, you know, and I'm like, whatever, transform, whatever. It's just movement, right? Movement. That's what's happening right now. So, oh, good. I got some thumbs up in the chat. Thank you. But if you are going within to work through these times, if you're back in quarantine and you're stuck in the house with yourself, I had somebody once tell me that, you know, you're not bad company as long as you like yourself. And it's like, yikes. So right now, there's many people that are depressed, anxious. They try to go inside their heart and their mind and be still, and all they hear is the noise of their past. You are not good enough. You'll never measure up. You'll never succeed. Right? Those are just a few of the messages. And those messages aren't true. And that energy can be discovered in your Akashic records and cleared from your energy body and your spirit body. And that's a lot less weight to carry around between now and December 21st, 2020. So if it feels right to you. If you're in this place right now where you're like, schmeg, what the heck's going on? Is it going to get better? Is this the end of the world as we know it? Are we going into socialism? These are the things that I've heard. And if you're confused and unsure, if you don't access your Akashic records to find out what your mission is, and if you're headed in the right direction, and if you're not, what is the right direction? How are you going to feel when we get this pop into the age of Aquarius? My understanding is, we got a 50-50 thing going on in the age of Aquarius. So it depends on where the other planets are placed as to what we're going to be going through for the next 5 years. It's either going to be Victor, Victoria, woohoo, yeah, baby, or it's going to be Victor, not so good, victim, maybe. I don't know. Victim, probably not the right word. But you've got the two largest planets in the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn. And you've got one that's a good doer and one that's the bad doer. Right? So everything's 50-50 right now. And it will be for a while. And then once we pass in the age of Aquarius, it's going to be really, really super good. And then maybe not so good. And I don't know how long it's going to take for these cycles. I didn't look that up. I mean, is it going to be weeks, days, months, But what I do know is when things oscillate back and forth, those that are aware of what their position is in the world, what they've cleared, what their purpose is, who their soul partners are going to fare a lot better than those that are still trying to wipe the off their eyes and figure out what's going on. So if you're that person, I ask you to think about, if you don't discover what's in your Akashic records for yourself, if you don't get that energy cleared and know what your purpose is, and you're feeling unsteady now, how are you going to feel a week from now when things only get cranked up more? The energy is going to crank up more and more and more until we, hit go on December 21st this year. So if it feels right for you and you feel like I am a fit for you, then I'm going to ask you to go to toolsofenergyprotection.com and click on services. I left it up. It says cyber sales, but I took the cyber sales away. But there are several options there. There's gift certificates still available. I have these little tiny angels that come. If you buy a gift certificate, you can actually give that present so that they have something to unwrap, carry in their pocket, a totem. But please just give it some thought. If you don't shift and change now, what's going to happen? Now, here's the good news. And here it is, 45 minutes in, and I'm finally getting to the good news. The good news is the fifth dimensional frequencies are coming in, and they are lifting us up if we let them. Between now and the 21st, things manifest so quickly. Watch your thoughts, guard your mind. I had a thought the other day that was so happy, and I turned around, and what I was thinking about manifested almost instantly. I was like, holy smokes, I knew things were fast, but I didn't know they were that fast. And then the other day I got grumpy about something, and I was just, right? Ooh, not a good place to be, but I was grumpy about something. And I started dropping things. I started bumping into things, and the energy was just awful. And I'm like, I did it to myself, but it was very quick. So the more connected in you are, the more spiritually stable you are, the faster you're going to manifest things. And I implore you to start manifesting good things now, right? Don't wait. Don't let that door hit you. The good news is that if you grab onto that energy now, breathe it in, situate yourself in it. Oh, that's funny. They just flashed an astronaut in my head. They were doing that the other day too, and they showed the astronauts holding on in their seats and like, before it takes off. And but that's the good news. If you focus on peace and joy and happiness the best you can, if you let go of people that are abusive, if you clear your energy from a deceased parent who is abusive, no longer alive, and set your mind to going forward in peace and love and grace, your healing will be so much faster. The amount of work you will have to do on yourself is less than what I did, and less people 10 years ago. It's very quick. It's very good. And that's exciting. So I did give an example to one of the gal I told you I was talking to earlier today. I did give her an example of what's happening, and she laughed so much I thought you all might like to hear it. But on December 1st, 2020, where we are right now, we know, if you will, that there is a pregnancy and her water has broken and she's headed to the hospital. If she chooses to get in the back seat and let somebody else drive her to the hospital, that's going to be a bumpy ride and not very comfortable, but she'll still get there. If she chooses to go by ambulance, they bring out the nice board, and drop it down and pick her up and cover her up and put her in the back and start an IV. And if she's into it, start the, I forget what they call it. It's the stuff they start so that you don't feel anything. It's not coming to me right now, but she's got the fluids, she's got the painkiller, she riding in style in the back of the ambulance. Which one feels better? Which would you rather go? A bumpy old ride where you don't know if you're gonna have your baby because for whatever reason the car's not pleasant to ride in, or maybe a stoplight, no painkiller, no hydration, or are you gonna go in style? And I'm not suggesting that you're going to go to the new age in an ambulance. So, but just think about those scenarios. Both women will get to the hospital. Both of them will give birth. But are you going to make the ride more or less pleasant? That's what I'm asking you to do right now. Pull together as a family. If your family's not good, you have friends who are family. Your family, pull together with those people. This is a time for communities to really come together, big and small. And I feel like, a grandma who, in the waiting room with my watch, counting down the time to when the baby's coming. And I'm expectant for it to come happily. So this is the countdown. This is the time of our spiritual rebirth. The time of the Great Awakening. The dawning of the Age of Aquarius. Who knew? And you have a mission. A singular mission. To be the light as much as you can. To drink in the good that's coming. To transform yourself. And there's going to be a lot of stuff going on around you, I promise you. Like the Bible says, that wars and rumors of wars, but still it's not the end. We got a ways to go for that, people. I won't be here, thankfully. My time will be done. I'll be going home. Then hundreds of years, you can come back and watch the videos if they're still available. Oh, look, she said she was going home. Yep. But I've got a few books I've been told I have to write, and some other things I've got to formulate before I leave. But I don't plan on being here when the end comes. And for those of you women who've had a natural childbirth, when they're telling you to push or not push, and that baby's coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, it hurts. And you just want to, if the man, happens to be in the labor room, you want to just grab him. You did this to me. But the truth is, you chose to get pregnant. You chose to formulate and have and nurture and carry that child for a long time. But the end result coming out, is painful. Or it can be. I do have one client who's very beautiful, and she's a natural childbirth midwife and midwifery. She's very lovely, and she makes it as easy as she can on the ladies. But anyway, you get the point. We have 20 days until our baby comes, the age of Aquarius. How are you preparing? Are you allowing the fear to be a part of you? Because I know that the political scene out there and other things I see are scary. And I don't want to live like that. But the only thing I can do right now is know that those energies will settle out, and whoever will be appointed, and on we will go with history. That's what I do now. And we will learn. Every one of us, we will learn, no matter what. So I'm going to look at the feed for a few more questions. I thank everybody that joined me and stayed on. That's awesome. I really do super appreciate that. So I'm going to look over here and see if I have anything else. Okay. Carla says yes, so many. Good. Kelly gave me a thumbs up. Carla's feeling it. Becky gave me a thumbs up. Okay. Carla says, I don't know if I'm airy-fairy or stuck in the mud most days. Welcome aboard. It's just a tough time, girl. I'm telling you, there's days when I'm so excited I can't wait to get to work, and there's other days where I'm like, eh. So exercise is a good thing. And epidural, yeah, thank you, Angie. Epidural is what they give women not to feel the pain. And so please know that this is a beautiful time to be alive. Enjoy it. Write a journal if you want, because, I don't know, we're probably going to go more and more electronic as time goes on. Paper will disappear. In my neighborhood, that you cannot find a paper bag in any of the grocery stores at all. The big ones you used to be able to get in the grocery stores, and they say paper or plastic. Paper bags are just gone. And the grocery stores tell me there's a paper shortage. I don't know if I believe that. But even though I'm not like super duper excited and brought my confetti tonight because I'm tired, but I am exercising every day. I implore you all, exercise every day. Walk around the block. Find an exercise video on YouTube, something. Please move at least 20 minutes every day. You've got to keep moving. Drink plenty of water. Be careful what you watch on television. Lots of subliminal messages going out. And not to be rude, but I think if I see one more Christmas movie come across about a prince falling in love with a commoner, or get married and be happily ever after, I seriously think I will vomit. Because all the Christmas movies are usually beautiful and touchy and feely and huggy and lovey. And I enjoy one or two, But when I'm looking, you know, to see what the plot lines are, seriously, how many of you saw out there? There was like 16 movies I saw, you know, in the, you know, what when I was reading what was available in one day that were about commoners marrying princes and living happily ever after. What's up with that? You know, anyway, it just really bothered me. I'm like, what are they trying to teach the collective consciousness now? But anyway. So please let me know if you have any questions. Again, toolsofenergyprotection.com. If you feel moved to do so, I'm more than happy to welcome you into my practice, or if you're an existing client, to have you back for a session. Let's look at your Akashic records, see what your mission is, see if the people that are surrounding you, your immediate family, are the people that you have been contracted soul-wise to be with or not, so we can make this transition earlier. So Robin says the full moon was wacky. Energy Monday night with everything else going on. Yes, full moon, it was wacky. Weird, weird, weird dreams, but dreams are flushing things out, so it's okay. Anyway. All right, my dears. Mwah! Big hugs and kisses. Love you all. If you're catching the end of this, I'm going to repost it. And because it, you know, I've been on a while, it'll take Facebook a while to repost it again for whatever reason. So that is pretty much it. So good night, and I will see you here a lot more than just Tuesday. I've done, if you go down here in the feed, there's some other videos down here as well, because I'm finding that more and more of you need help. If you send me a private email, I will answer questions on the air on Tuesday. So if you have something you really want to know, let me know. Okay. And thank you all, and have a great, wonderful night.